Thank you guys. Should be a good one today. These crits on TrainingPeaks virtual are always tricky. So, see how I get around these first few laps. We'll see if there's any big attacks at the beginning. I'm sure there will be at the end. I would say I'm not really putting too many expectations on this. The goal is to win, of course. So realistically, a podium for sure. I think if everything goes well, yeah, it'll come down to a sprint or a late attack probably. And with the corners, I don't really know. It'll be tricky. Yeah, actually, it's a good point. I should take a video of this setup before I move. We're actually moving in a couple of weeks, so then I'll have to move the whole setup and it'll be in a new room in a new area, so it'll look a lot different. Maybe not from the stream perspective, but overall it'll be a lot different, I think. How much time do I have? 3.5 minutes. All right. I can keep my music loaded up. All right. Got the music going. This race should be about, what is it, 30K? 20 laps. So I think it's about 40, 45 minutes, somewhere around there. It'll be under an hour. So let's make sure, yeah, I got the stream on in the background. Yeah, we should be good to go. Everything's updated. Everything's connected, all looking good. Get the second fan going. Heart rate's always high before a race that I care about. Pretty nervous, but that's normal. I've had that feeling many times before. I used to get it really bad when I was a junior. Like sitting on the start line, just like total stomach cramps. Like you feel like really full and like you're gonna throw up at the same time. And then as soon as the race starts, like all that feeling just goes away. And everything's fine, just nervousness. You can tighten up the shoes a little bit. All right, here we go. Thank you. Yep, we're aiming for the win today. It'll be tough in this field, very, very tough, but we'll do as best as we can. All right, 30 seconds. Should put the gloves on sooner. That's all right. Here we go. Definitely be watching for early attacks. Guys like Hayden and Tim. Try to figure out these corners. See where the braking happens. So it looks like we got a headwind on this section. It's only a light headwind, but hit something. Let's see how tight this turn is. If we need to break it off. Looks like no braking at 40 to 45k an hour. There goes a move from Hayden. Let's see if we have to brake for these corners coming up. Looks like you want to start coasting very early for that corner. Looks like quite a bit of braking for that first corner. It's a 2-day Omnium. Crit today, road race tomorrow on Milan. Here comes the rest of the peloton. I don't know if there's a live stream with commentary to answer your question. I'll do my best to commentate during the race. Got Hayden off the front right now. Field is still pretty big. I don't know if we dropped anyone. Maybe one or two guys, but the rest of the peloton still together. So it looks like John Noonan and Neil Friett have the same look. So I gotta be careful who I'm following or who I don't follow. Thanks, Milan. Neil and Hayden for sure. I need to follow them like I am right now. Yeah, it's completely different on TrainingPeaks Virtual. Super, super punchy. Just on and off at like 600 or 700 watts. Big attack from Tim. Yeah, I'm still planning on racing SRC. To be determined. Because I'm going to miss the second qualifier because of travel. The field's getting tired. The splits are getting bigger with these attacks. Still 22K to go, it's a long way. I should have worn the blue TrainingPeaks virtual kit. I would blend in with all these other riders. That's what Hayden has on, so I need to be careful with that. Looks like he's attacking again. Looks like the max speed on that corner is about 40K an hour. Yeah, thank you. I like the black and yellow. I like that combo. Unfortunately, it's easy for everyone else to follow too. I should move up. I don't want to be too far back here. I'll miss those attacks. Not even sure who that is. It's Hayden.
stuck on there for a second. There goes Hayden again. Most of his attacks, he just kind of ends up sitting 2 to 3 seconds in front of us, which you can kind of just sprint to close that gap. Eyes are starting to get dropped. It's pretty hard now. Has been hard for a while. We're almost halfway there. See, I even pedaled too long there. I could save another 2 or 3 pedal strokes, not have to brake as hard. Thank you. I appreciate it. is Hayden off the front right now? Does he have a big gap? It's hard to tell. Oh, he's right there. It's just the first lap with no big attacks out of that corner. Almost. Still went pretty hard. Thank you, staff. Probably some pretty good viewing today. These races are pretty exciting. All the corners and attacks and everything. Looks like there's more from Hayden right now. Gotta get on that right away. Yeah, Neil's riding super strong right now. He'll be hard to beat in these national championships. I'm nervous that Hayden hasn't attacked for, I think, 2 minutes. He'll probably go any second now. There he goes. 11K to go, 7 laps left. Another big attack from Hayden. Only 4 laps to go now. Should be some bigger tasks coming soon. Thank you. Thank you. I'll watch the kilometers to go to be safe. Two laps to go now. This is it. Nice one, David. Woo. That was awesome. Woo. Nice, David. That sprint was wild. It was like you coasted into the corner with like 500 meters to go, and then you just hit it as hard as you can just before the apex so that you have time to accelerate and speed up. And then from there it was like 120 or 130 meters to the finish. That whole sprint was probably like 7 seconds long. Oh man, that felt good. The freshness in my legs helped a lot. Taking it like super easy yesterday. I did 45 minutes at 180 watts or 190 watts, like low zone 1. And then the freshness today was really good, which was perfect for a crit because it's those punchy efforts. There's like nothing sustained. I mean, I bet my peak 1 minute power in that whole race was probably like 400 or 450, because every single attack, every single acceleration was just 10 to 20 seconds, maybe 30. Milan race 2 is tomorrow at the same time, 10:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be a little bit longer. I think that one is 25 miles, so it should be about an hour. I'll probably roll around for like 10 more minutes at 100 watts. That was good though. Very happy with that. Yeah, I mean, man, like, I can't decide about SRC now because I don't want to ruin my legs for the road race. At the same time, yeah, it's a good opportunity to, I don't know, I'll have to think about it. I have to do SRC as a qualifier no matter what. It's always hard to start and not try as hard as you can. That whole race I was just thinking, for the finish, I know that pure power wise, I can't outsprint these guys for 10 to 20 seconds. But if I can get the momentum right into the final corner, it was short enough that you could just stay ahead, like just enough to hold on. And it was perfect for David too. I have to thank him for trusting me, because he was in the same race and I coach him, and I could see just the way the race was playing out that David probably wouldn't be the #1 marked rider like a Remco or a Pogacar in a pro road race. You got to look at someone like, I'm trying to think, who's a lesser known rider, like Dan Hula. Like if he attacks in the Tour of Flanders, like the favorites probably aren't going to follow him. But if Van der Poel attacks, the whole field is going to react. So I told David, because I know he has a really good 1 minute power, I told him to go with 1K to go, and I thought the field would probably hesitate he could get a gap and then maybe have enough to hold on. So that was perfect. We almost caught him at the end, but he won it by over a second, so it was great. Oh, Milan, that's a great question. That is the $1 million question on my whoosh. Because I think it really depends on the rider's size and how steep and how fast the descent is. So I would say for a lighter rider like yourself on a gradual descent, so something between 4 and 7% downhill, it's going to be faster probably for you to keep pedaling. Even if it's just zone 1, zone 2 power, you'll probably go an extra 2 kilometers an hour faster. With the super tuck, that's probably only for descents that are negative 8% or steeper, which there's not many of those in SRC, and they're usually really short. So the super tuck, like if you're in the group, the super tuck is really good because you can just coast in the group and save some energy. But if you're solo, pedaling at zone 1 or zone 2 is going to be faster. That's a great question though, because it's really, really tricky. And I've gotten dropped many times on my whoosh descents. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. If you have any other questions with that, just let me know. I enjoy passing along my racing knowledge to my athletes like David, because he deserves to win a race like this. He's strong enough to win a race like this. And I know in my head, the move is probably attack at 1K to go, but if I do it, I'm going to get followed by the field. But if he does it, it's perfect. Yeah, Milan, that's another good question. I would say you want to, if you're going from a downhill into an uphill, I would start, if you're not pedaling, make sure you're pedaling before the dip goes from flat to ascending. And then you definitely want to be on the pedals kind of right before the gradient goes from negative to flat, so that by the time you hit the flat, your power is already zone 2, zone 3 at least, and then you can kick a little bit into the next ascent, into the next hill. And then it depends, if that hill is short and steep, then you probably want to spike your power a little bit, like zone 5, zone 6, to get that momentum. But if it's a longer climb, like you can probably just do zone 3, zone 4 to keep your momentum into the hill. Yeah, sounds good, Milan. Yeah, to have it all written out helps a lot. You're welcome. Man, I hope David was streaming that. I don't know if he was. I know he streamed the Masters race. Oh, he did stream that. Nice. That'll be awesome to watch back. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, Jasper Stuyven, very, very strong. Got a good sprint on him. Pretty big guy, so the raw watts are crazy, crazy high. So, I mean, the only weakness there is like a 15, 20 minute steep climb. Everything else, like the punchy stuff, the raw power is so high, and the punch is there to the 1 to 5 minute power is really, really good. Yeah, that's a good comparison. What about me, Lucas? I'm curious. I feel like I'm probably in a similar way to those guys. Man, I'm watching David's attack back on his stream. He did 1,000 watts for like the first 10 seconds of his attack. And it was like a kilometer, it was like a full kilometer long. It was crazy. And we actually started chasing him. He only had a 2-second gap with 500 meters to go. And yeah, he came into the final corner. Let's see. He's got 300 meters to go. He only had 2 seconds. But then he was going 60k an hour, sprinting into the final corner. I was actually leading into the final corner, trying to slow down. Yeah, he made it there with 2 seconds and then kicked hard again. 1,000 watts again. That was awesome. That was awesome. Ooh, Bettiol or Mads Pedersen. I like those comparisons because those guys are crazy strong. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let's see the power for that. The sprint was, I think, my best ever, which makes sense because you coast into it, so like your legs are just completely fresh. Whereas like in a lead out, you'd be doing 400 or 500 watts, like sustained for the last kilometer or two, and then you have to kick out of that, so the peak is never going to be super high. But in this sprint, we coasted into it for probably 6 seconds, 6 full seconds of just like coasting, and then just kick as hard as you can. So let's see. Yeah, it was definitely in the sprint, the 181. That probably includes the cooldown. The average seems really low. Let's see, 10 seconds at 11:34. Yeah, I think that's my best ever. Maybe not for 10 seconds, but the peak definitely 1,300. The strength training is working. Get in the gym. Every cyclist should get in the gym if you can. It helps. Yeah, 5 seconds over 1,200. That's awesome. And then the full race, about 330. So the normalized must have been 360, 370, I would think. Very nice. Did I really have 50 minutes or 30 minutes above 154? It felt pretty easy. Maybe because the on-off, I'm so used to the SRC, like just the holding the steady 300 watts to recover. Whereas today there was so much coasting. You can see all those where the cadence goes to zero. I'm just coasting into the corners. Actually, you see the results. I think there we go. Yeah, you can see how much energy I saved. Average power is only 324, normalized 338. That was a pretty comfortable effort for me. I'm probably the same size as most of these guys. They're probably between 70 and 80 kilos, most of these guys. Alright, so I'll have to remember those results for tomorrow, for who to watch in the road race. Wow, Neil hit 1,400. Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow for SRC as a qualifier for sure, and then the Nationals road race. To answer your question about the gym work, and yes, Milan, I did see Remco today. He's looking really good at the start of the season. For the gym work, right now, I've been doing 1 time a week in the gym with like with heavy weights. One time a week for about 30 minutes. 30 minutes is like the focused, like cycling specific exercises, like very, very specific work with 3 sets of each exercise, and then some stretching, some yoga, and then doing yoga like once or twice a week on top of that. So in total, the gym work plus yoga plus any other like strength training I do is like an extra hour, hour and a half for the week. So it's like, it's definitely worth sacrificing an hour and a half of training time. Like if you could do 8.5 hours of training versus 10, but you can do 8.5 hours of riding and then get in the gym for an hour and a half for the week, you're definitely going to get more gains out of that. I think there's more value out of that for most cyclists. All right, I'll call it there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.